Hello and welcome to SGN Tech Forum. This is Wireless for Network Engineer Part 3, and in this video we are going to continue with client configuration. In Part 1 and 2 we stood up the EWLC. Part 2 we let AP join the EWLC using CapWap tunnel, and finally we will let client join the network, and we will look into data path and control path of the network. Right, again it didn't happen without any issues. So we will talk about issues encountered and workaround, and that is going to be very interesting because we are using external DSCP and we do not have a switch in our network. The AP is directly connected to EWLC, and that's where some simple networking concept like native VLAN and I'm giving you the secrets away here, but you will come to know that how the small networking concept can be a showstopper, or can really trick you, right? So let's go ahead with our demo and connect the client. Okay, let's go log into our UI. As you can see, we have AP join the controller. So we have one access point, zero client. Let's verify the WLAN. I'm advertising my WLAN profile and SSID is available as SDN Tech. DSCP pool, user data pool is created. I'm going to delete DSCP pool because we do not need any DSCP pool on EWLC. We are going to have an external DSCP server in our network, right? So let's go ahead and delete this. We'll create that subnet in external DSCP server. Okay, so no DSCP at all in EWLC. Let's go ahead and check WLAN. So as you can see, status is enabled. I'm broadcasting this SSID, and security wise, I have only layer 2 security. That means client can join the network using PSK, okay, pre-shared keys. I'm just going to give you a, if you have not watched part 2 and part 3, you can quickly see what we have done so far. So we have our tags and policies created, and they are attached to this AP. Uh, as a matter, as a result of that, we are advertising SSID. And as you can see in policy profile, we are using user data VLAN. That means this SSID, when a client join, he is going to get an IP address from this VLAN. Okay, that's why we do that association. So you can have multiple VLAN types, right? So for IoT, you want one subnet, for regular, you want one subnet, and so on. So that's what we did there. Now let's go to DSCP server and create a subnet for our user data VLAN. Obviously, sudo, since this is you're working with server, you need to always have sudo privileges. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to edit or show you what subnet we have created. So we have created a new subnet 10.10.00/24, and I have created the option router as 10.10.01. So we have subnet created. Mind it, we do not need any vendor encapsulated because we are not passing any DSCP options. Okay, on EWLC we have VLAN 10 already created and VLAN 100 already created, right? That's what we did earlier in earlier videos, because that was part of planning. Now, Gigabit Ethernet 2, which is an uplink for AP, that means which is connected to uplink, it has initially access VLAN 10, that means only VLAN 10 was allowed, but now we want client to join, come and join this network, right? So on the uplink, we need to allow the data or user data VLAN as well. So how I can do that? I need to convert this access switch port to a trunk port so that I can apply multiple, or I can allow multiple VLANs. So that's what I'm doing. I defaulted that interface, and then now I'm converting it to trunk and allow two VLANs, VLAN 100 comma VLAN 10 comma 100. So VLAN 100, 10 and 100 both will be allowed on this trunk, and we can verify, right? So if you do a show interface trunk, you'll see, yep, this is my configuration. So wireless client summary, no client has joined. Okay. So in background, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to connect, trying to connect my iPhone to this SSID, and that's how I know the MAC address. And I was trying to run a debug. Okay, but let's look at the AP. What happened in the AP, right? DTL is tear down, and it went back into CabWeb discovery. So what happened? We just changed the port from access to trunk and allowed another VLAN. So VLAN 10 is allowed. We allowed VLAN 100 also. But that actually impacted my setup, and my AP has disjoined the controller. So what happened? We need to allow more VLANs, because we cannot keep all our network or all our clients and APs within one subnet. That's not really scalable or flexible solution, right? So, so that made me wonder, right, what I'm doing wrong here. And as you can see, my AP went down. So we are into a issue. And again, once we are in AP related issue, you will go to monitoring, wireless, AP stats, general and joint stats. Not much helpful. Just say not joined. Why? Right? It doesn't give me any indication. At least previously it was third chain missing, but now it doesn't say even that. So what's going on here? My interfaces are up, and now I started looking into hypervisor. Right? What is wrong? So within hypervisor VMware ESXi, for port group, you generally use two settings. Either you leave it to default VLAN ID 0, that means it don't care what a tag you are bringing, right? So more like a access behavior. So by default, it was set to 0. That means it was access. You can say generically, right? Not technically, but uh, generally. So what I'm going to do, what I applied a workaround, that I change the client profile um, from AP VLAN, from user data VLAN to AP VLAN. Okay, and see if that can help. And we are watching DHCP also. That is client, if client can reach DHCP. So nothing is happening right now. And you can see this is my this configuration from part 2. So we have the third chain configure. I'm just verifying everything, right? I have VLAN 10, I have VLAN 100, uh, gigabit Ethernet 2. Again, I roll it back to access VLAN 10, right? So we in trunk, when I converted it to a trunk, it break my lab, so I converted it back to access, and I change the WLAN VLAN association to AP. So now my client, my AP, everything will be in the same subnet, and let's see if that works with mode access. Okay, so it's a one trial. Okay, so I'm pretty sure when I change the mode to access, controller AP will join. Okay, now let's see if client can join with the change VLAN association. And if it is getting confusing, please leave me a feedback in the comment. Okay, so now AP has joined. Now I'm trying to join my iPhone, and let's see what happened. Excuse me. So expectation is, since client is also part of VLAN 10, it should join the network and get an IP address from VLAN 10. Here you go. You can see the one client became active, and it has got an IP address from VLAN's AP VLAN subnet, which is 172.16. So this is working as expected, but this is not idea, right? But let's look at the client in little bit in more detail. So which AP it is connected to, what is the client performance, that means what is SNR, what is signal quality, and all those details. What capabilities? So AC 802.11 AC got negotiated, and MAC address, as you can see, it start with 2A, uh, and says locally administrative address. That means it is not a fixed MAC address. Generally, it's like you can see it's a private MAC address kind of scenario and keep changing. Apple generally uses this behavior. A lot of other details about the the client you can find here. But the baseline is my network is working. My client can join the SSID, but with only one caveat is they all are in the same VLAN. My DHCP server is in the same VLAN, my AP is in the same VLAN, my client is in the same VLAN. So either I have to use a very big subnet and keep everything in that same VLAN, but that's not uh, cool, right? Why we need VLAN? It's segmentation, right? We want to leverage the segmentation, and so that we can isolate secure or macro segmentation, micro segmentation, all those things, right? So that's what not cool. Uh, so it made me think, right, what I'm doing wrong here, uh, because as soon as I convert the uplink to trunk, the AP association is broken. So it made me think, and I started wondering, like, I started wondering and tried a couple of combinations. And what I realized that is I need to check the hypervisor and make sure the hypervisor side is also trunk, and make certain changes within my network, right? So what we are going to do next, so far, good, right? We have access point, we have client join the network. I'm trying to see if I can get some more details anywhere, maybe a packet capture or troubleshooting logs, because you can see DHCP is handing out the IP address without any problem, right? And we have the client joined and it's in run state, so that's active state, no problem. You can check client summary, AP summary, everything you can check from CLI, and the same information you can get from UI as well. So this is the end of task with workaround, right? But we cannot stop here. Right now, if you see on my screen what we got so far, we got this setup, 9800 connected to AP and the client trying to join the SSID. When the uplink is configured as access, it is a thumbs up. As soon as we configured uplink as trunk and allow the VLAN, it's thumbs down, right? So let's fix it. What we can do, go to AP join profile and change the VLAN mapping, right, to the intended or the final configuration. So we want you to use user data VLAN, not AP VLAN. And user data VLAN is 10.10.00/24 subnet. And now let's make some changes. So this is EWLC uplink. Okay, we are just going to verify that the change has taken effect. And as you can see, SDN Tech Pole profile, now VLAN is user data profile, right? Show VLAN 10 and 100 already defined. Show interface trunk, no trunk link. Now let's convert access to trunk, okay, and break it. So switch port allowed 10 to 100, and in hypervisor also I have changed the VLAN ID to 4095. 4095, that means allow all the VLANs, all the tags, okay. As soon as we do this, it breaks. AP will lose the heartbeat and it will go down, cap web tunnel go down, okay. DTLS tear down. So again, we went back to the problem, right, where we applied the workaround, putting everything in one subnet. Now we recreated the problem. So we are at the step where we have the problem at hand, okay. No AP joined because uplink is configured as trunk. What is happening here? native VLAN. That's the key. So when AP is sending Cap Web Discovery, sending with a with encapsulation, which is not getting understood because of native VLAN mismatch, right? So now I'm saying native VLAN is VLAN 10, which is my AP VLAN, right? As soon as I say that, switch can understand, and it doesn't get confused between access and trunk, in the process goes smooth, right? So now AP can join controller with VLAN 10 with uplink being configured as trunk, right? So we have overcome that problem. Very good. The second part was the client has to get the IP address from 10 subnet, not 172 subnet, and that subnet is defined on DHCP. But DHCP need a route back for that subnet, right? So that's where you need to add this route, and I have did IP route add 10 via my ENS 224. So now DHCP has a route back so that it can reply for DHCP discover messages. Also, we need to create the WLAN or VLAN anchor point for that SSID and that on WLC, and that's what I'm doing here. Interface VLAN 100, put the IP address in 10 subnet. Also use IP helper address because uh, DHCP is in different subnets. So that's where we are using IP helper address, and we are using IP helper address of DHCP server itself because we do not have any router in the network, but DHCP server is connected via virtual link directly. So we can just use the DHCP server IP address as a helper address itself. So what happened now, as you can see, the wireless client summary, we have client joined, or I'm actively trying to join using putting the username and password on my phone. And let's watch what happened on AP console. Okay, because I cannot show you my phone; it's in my hand right now, in this at this point of time. But AP has joined the controller. That's a good thing, right? And now, as you can see, the add mobile ID client, all those messages started coming. That means client is trying to join, and it has already got the IP address in 10.10.0.200 subnet. So my DHCP server has provided IP address, and I have a active client in my network. Okay, client goes active, active 1, bingo, as expected. This is what we wanted. This is the holy grail, right? We have a IPv4 address in different subnet than AP VLAN, and this is getting negotiated dynamically from external DHCP server. Same thing, just like previous workaround, you can get all sort of client related information here, which AP is connected, what is the quality SSNR and other things. What I did while we were checking this, you can also do a packet capture to see what's coming in and how DHCP discover or DORA process is getting taken care, right? For that, I ran a packet capture, and as you can see on my screen, first we got DHCP discover as a broadcast, and that broadcast been relayed to DHCP server. DHCP server know that I have a scope for that subnet. It replied. For reply, it has a route back to the request, and from there it has been sent back to the client. And here you can see it offered IP address of 10.10.0 to 10.10.0.1, that VLAN, and within that reply you have the actual client address, and that's the client address my client got in terms of 10.10.0.200. And this is my interface VLAN. So this is the Ethernet MAC address where um, source and destination is getting set, right? It's DHCP server to EWLC helper IP address. Okay, so this is great. This is what we wanted to achieve, and I have shown you with packet capture and everything. This is our client summary. Client has is joined. It has an IP address. We are broadcasting SSID, and everything looks very good. So we have one WLAN, one access point, one client. Now you are totally free to build on top of that. You can have multiple SSIDs, you can play with different kind of RF profile, you can add more client, you can add more subnet, and all sort of things you can do. So this is the conclusion of wireless for network engineer. I intend to put a few architectural discussions like how the contention take place, how we take what is the Aloha network, right? All those things. I'm sure you know it if you're a wireless engineer, but we'll still talk about it and get some more feedback or familiarity with it. And I hope you were able to follow along with me. I know it was a long series, but it's a great home lab, and you can build on top of that. You can do your CC um, NA in wireless. I don't know what is it called nowadays, CWNA or something, or you or maybe if not certification, you can. I mean, wireless is ubiquitous nowadays, right? So it's good to know about wireless, and it has very good scope. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in next videos.